Back now to that wider question. What would it take to motivate Congress to finally get going on stimulus? We have with us Hadley Heath Manning, Independent Women's Forum Policy Director, Gary Kaltbaum as well, Kaltbaum Capital Management President, Fox Business contributor. And good to see both of you guys. Hope you had a great Thanksgiving. Hadley, you want to take that first? Because we have had this discussion now, it seems, for weeks or months, and you wonder, would it be a huge drop in the market? Would it be something in the economy? Or maybe it just doesn't happen at all in terms of getting these guys going on stimulus. What do you think?
Right. Well, we're officially in the Christmas shopping season now with Thanksgiving and Black Friday. Really big boost for the economy there. But we're also in the midst of a different season. As you mentioned, Colin, it is a lame duck season. And just because the election is over, of course, politics change, but the government doesn't change immediately. And we've been in a season of divided government. Chances are, in all likelihood, we may continue to see divided government even after President-elect Biden takes over in the White House. So when you have divided government, you have boogeymans on either side. You have the opportunity for talking heads or pundits to sort of paint their own narrative and blame whoever they would like to blame. Of course, you can blame the Senate or the House. You can blame the election of Biden, or you can blame lame duck Trump. But that's where we are. And so there's really no real change here when it comes to the government and sort of the incentives for politicians to act.
Hasn't done much to hold back the stock market, Gary, obviously. We've had this huge month of November. As I said at the top, by some measures, the best ever in the month of November for the S&P 500, at least, even with today's pullback. However, you know, you could argue it's hurt regular people, not having certainty, not being able to plan. And you see all these small businesses closing, which we'll talk about later on in the show. Many times we talk to, a restaurant owner, they say, well, you know what, I could use a few more bucks to figure this out. And they still haven't figured it out. Will they?
Well, they are redefining the word lame in the lame duck. And look, Fox Business is great at talking to real people out there. And these politicians who are politically positioning themselves are leaving millions of people in the lurch, millions of businesses owners in the lurch. The number of people that have shut down their business is gargantuan. And we've been watching videos of people in their cars lining up to get food at food banks in record numbers, yet they sit there and just whistle away the days as we head into, a new presidency. It absolutely boggles the mind that they keep saying how much they care about the people of the country. By the way, we're talking about both parties here, and nothing gets done. Yep. And the blame, they keep blaming each other, and yet you have moms and dads at 3 in the morning looking at the ceiling, trying to figure out where the next dime and the next meal is going to come from.
All right, let me talk a little bit about the next administration, and we're going to have a full report on President-elect Biden's economic team in a moment. But Janet Yellen, who wants to be the next Treasury Secretary, she's confirmed, hopped on Twitter today for the first time. And I believe she has more followers than the three of us, which is disappointing in one day. But here's her first tweet. We face great challenges as a country right now to recover. We must restore the American dream. A society where each person can rise to their potential, dream even bigger for their children. As Treasury Secretary, I'll work every day towards rebuilding that dream for all. Hadley, you first on rebuilding that dream. That would obviously imply that it needs to be rebuilt. What did you take away from that, if anything?
You know, it's a beautiful sentiment. I don't think you'll find anyone who disagrees with the idea that we want the American dream to be accessible to everyone. And certainly the pandemic has been a huge setback. As you mentioned, Colin, there's people who, who have been affected by the pandemic differently. If you're rich or poor, if you're small business or big business, if you're male or female, if you're a parent or not a parent, you've had a different pandemic experience. But the bottom line is we've got to focus not just on short-term strategies for mitigating the virus, but we have to focus on that exit strategy. That's why you see the optimism in the market about vaccines. Americans are sick of it. They did spend a lot maybe this week on Christmas shopping, I think, hoping to find something redemptive and happy and spirit-lifting about 2020. Yeah. It's overall been a discouraging year, but they've still got a lot of, we're struggling in the consumer confidence category for the next 6 months. I think it's going to continue to be a rough ride for many mainstream Americans until we find our way out of this and can return to some normalcy.
Quick final thought, Gary, on rebuilding that American dream. I know you're fair and balanced in your criticisms for Fed chairs, and this is a former Fed chair that wants to be Treasury Secretary making that comment.
I have never been more optimistic on the people of this country. I've never been more pessimistic on people like Yellen and Powell and the rest of them that talk a big game. But all they have done throughout the years, and this includes Bernanke, they have enabled trillions of debt that we'll never get out of, and the rigging and manipulated. Just so you understand, Jay Powell is spending billions of dollars buying Apple bonds, but not helping out the poor. That's the best way I can explain it in one nutshell, what's going on right now that needs to be fixed and attended to. There's absolutely no accountability with these people, and I'm hoping somewhere along the line somebody starts looking at this, or else you know what I think would happen at the end of the day in the markets because of all this. There's 270 trillion of debt around the globe now. I don't know how you get that back into the tube.
At some point, we'll have to deal with that, won't we? Gary, thank you. Hadley as well. Thanks to both of you.